place.
Why, thank you. We built it ourselves. Yeah.
How's that here then?
Out of the forest that is right around Kindersley.
It takes a lot of, what is it, archaeology, oh my gosh, what's the architecture?
Yes.
To figure
I
out
wonder
where
where
the
you
locks
want
go.
archaeology.
Yeah.
It didn't take much archaeology. That comes after.
No, you have to, that's the ashes of, what's in the wood? Oh, man.
Carbon?
Yes. Take that.
Were we waiting for someone? You said
Yeah.
it.
Barrow. Oh, everyone already said that. I
No.
was a little late to the game.
Do I know everybody here? The masks
I
constantly
mean, you
throw
should,
me.
I think.
Okay, there we go. Yep. Your hair used to be blue.
Yes, it used to be, last semester was bluish, more bluish than purple, and then there's still somewhat of purple in it, but it's kind of coming out.
All right. So are we sad it's coming out, or?
Yep.
Okay, I'm very sorry to hear
Here's
that.
here's the plus side to it though. When I go home, I'm dyeing it half blonde again, so.
Okay. Cool.
Go for it, Veronica.
Oh, I was, just leave.
She's-
Please, Peter.
Veronica is,
I'm out.
she's mad.
Dips.
Peacing out. She's got things to do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's just knocking everything down. She's gonna destroy your place. You better get her out of
I
here.
don't think that's true.
She
Yeah,
just,
right.
I
she
don't.
just knocked down a hanger.
We're gonna recover. We have a contingency plan. So what Ron told me was that you guys were supposed to ask me questions. Now the boys were here first.
Yes.
They were a little nervous right off the hop. Didn't know what to ask. Monty was here, so there was some questions.
Oh, yeah.
But they warmed up. It was okay. We got into it. But right off the hop, it was a little quiet. So you're very welcome here. I'm glad you're here. What can I offer you?
Oh, this may be a later time question, but can we get a tour of the church?
Sure.
Great.
Do you want to do that now?
Might as well.
Yeah.
Come on in. Well, and
Yes.
I will give you a tour of the church as it was pre-COVID.
Okay.
What its intention was and is. That was.
And will be again.
The first thing that you need to know is this church was built in 1988, 1989, over those 2 years. And so if you look at the windows here, you'll see that those windows are the size of double doors.
Oh.
And so the idea was that should we ever build quite a grand sanctuary, it would be out these doors. The other idea was that we would build a seniors complex behind us. Now the town went and built the Taj Mahal of seniors complexes. If you've ever been back there, it's pretty nice. Like I hope to live in a place quite that nice. So that part won't happen. That's already been there. But that was the intention of this. We own the field to the side here, all the way to they built a little berm on the far side. That's sort of the property line, and that is where originally, as I said, that was the plan. If we got to the place where we're doing it now, I don't think we build out there. The world has kind of changed. The price of building has changed, and that would be a tremendously expensive route, whereas we could knock every wall out here and have this big room and then just build a little. I'd love to show you all this. So we went to Europe, and we retraced those footsteps. If you go to Europe to explore Europe, we didn't go where you are going. We are looking for fields. We're looking for where battles took place. My grandfather was a Normandy soldier. And so the beaches of Normandy, that one will blow your mind, by the way. But we're looking for backpacks. Dad has one. I'm looking for one. I'm living in Manitoba, and there's a secondhand place. Anyone here from Mennonite background? Okay,
Me.
MCC?
Yep.
Okay, MCC, it's like Salvation Army or whatever.
Yep, it is.
And
It's
this
great.
is here, and if it was $10, that's it. And so my wife bought it for me and brought it home. And when I saw it, I loved it because it's so garish. I mean, it's just like everyone else has these, really nice looking ones. That's what I
Sturdy
want.
ones.
Oh man. And
It's very Saskatchewan colorful.
yeah, I don't think on purpose, but so we open it up and we look into it, and in it we find several things. Find this pack of matches. Find someone's old, really old from the 70s hiking boots and maps of where they have hiked all all through Alberta. And so if you go there now, you can't go to these places. And these are old maps. There's where this little hut, this mining hut is, and they slept overnight in this hut. So that was a sermon illustration, which it never made it home, because honestly, just because I like it. So that's what that is. And it's super old, and you know that because it's got an aluminum frame.
We have one of those at home.
It's super comfy, right? It's more comfy than a brand new one.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Oh yeah.
there's a hard, your back is up against here, so it's firm on your back. But anyway, it's great.
Yep.
Milkshake machine. My grandfather was the head, same grandfather, was the head of food services at Canadian Bible College and Theological Seminary way back in early 80s. And then he retired and whatever. My family's history is we own an ice cream dairy, a factory. We make ice cream. If you ever had Ben and Jerry's, you're very welcome. That's our fault. And so when he, also Safeway Select, and if you have any chocolate bar flavored ice cream, like it says O. Henry or whatever, that's us. And so, and thus the reason why. But, so he went to the Bible school, and he made, if I said a malt shop, you guys know what
I know, yeah.
This is for real. So the students would go to the cafeteria, come out of the cafeteria, honest to goodness malt shop with a soda jerk, and you could get these a real milkshake, which starts its life as a strawberry or peach or whatever it is. This was the milkshake machine. So he retires, he gets put down in the basement and forgotten about. I can't tell you how many years later, early 2000s, the school is moving out to Calgary, and I'm hired to help haul heavy stuff, and I find it. And so they wanted $300 for it. Might as well have been $3 million. I didn't have the money. I was like, I'll work all day for free. And so swinging deal for them. And so I took it apart, I rebuilt it, it works great. If you come to this church, I don't mean permanently, I mean if you're ever coming to this church, I just didn't think about it, but we'd have had milkshakes. It's super cool and it works.
The Watt Cafe needs.
You remind me, my pastor back home, he has a lot of things to show,
Oh yeah.
but folklore stuff. And Natasha has seen those, the instruments
Oh,
that he had.
It's
and
so cool.
so
We got to
many
play
things.
the instruments,
Yeah.
and we sucked, but it was so much
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, he has 1,000 of like physical things to show in his sermons. It's just like
Sure.
Josh.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the constant thing that comes through here. This is a mug made.
I was going to ask.
This is a mug made by a blind man.
Wow.
And this is what he believes ugly looks like, and why it's significant to me is because there's no malice. It's just not a pretty face. And so, because when I think of ugly, I usually think of mean, sort of hand in hand. That's not mean. That's a pretty happy guy. He's pretty happy to see you. I mean, you might even want to become really good friends with him. But it's ugly without malice. And so I called him. I said I would like that. You don't have to put that.
I mean, yeah, go.
What's the little black box up
Oh,
there?
I gotta tell you.
Is it a camera?
So much better than that. This box.
Why do I feel like I
and
know what this
Bible
is?
Go hand in hand.
Ooh.
Why do I feel like I know?
There was a man named Jack Robb. Jack Robb died more than 20 years ago. Wonderful pastor, and he and his wife could not have children, so they adopted 2 children, raised those children. There's certain tragedy in that story as well. That was the Bible he preached from, and this is his traveling.
That's so cool.
So his son comes to my office one day and he says, I'm throwing this and that out, but I thought maybe you'd like them just before they go to the trash. And what happened inside of me was, and it was so cool because I thought this was black, and it was, but it was full of rotten, like totally rotten, go ahead, you take pictures, juice. And because that man was not going to have wine. Do you understand who we're dealing with here? So this was his, and so this exists in my life without Bible because someday I want his son to come back and say, this is stupid, I know you didn't keep this, but did you keep those things? Because I'm going to give them back to him. So he and God are, it's tense right now. That'll sit in my office, no problem.
It's beautiful.
The communion thing comes out, you can tell we're like nerdy Bible college.
Oh yeah.
Are they glass?
Yeah, you can touch it, go ahead.
I have a small question for you.
Suddenly, we film everything, and it's how it looks on film is really important. And so for us, because we are not at all a wealthy church, it's a big deal for us to do what we can with what we have. Because what we're not doing is building a new stage. We can't do that. These blue lines on the floor are for pickleball. Anyone here ever played pickleball?
I've heard of it.
It's pretty fun. You should try it. It really is a good thing. That was one of our outreaches that was almost completely occupied by people who don't attend church and don't profess faith, and would also say, I'll never come into a church. That's pickleball. So we play pickleball. Of course, we can't now, but that's how that goes. At Christmas, where it says, "For unto us a child is born," there was it was just about a full-size 1949 pickup truck up there, except it was made out of plywood. But when you looked at it, an artist made it for us. She comes to this church and she's responsible for how everything looks. She had made this for us. And so we change our stage on the regular. You'll see the 2 bottles of oil. We anoint people with oil. When I'm allowed to do it, we do it every Sunday. I'm not actually allowed to do it right now, but what I'm allowed to say to people, what I do say to people is, it's not magic oil. That was bought at Shoppers Drug Mart. The Holy Spirit is alive and well, and He's not dependent on you. So come be prayed for healing, and we will metaphorically anoint you. So that's how that happens. Let's go to this door down here. I'll show you. Oh, good. Glad to hear it. Oh, got yourself here.
So much bigger than
So this is, when we were completely online, we pulled, this was sort of a storage room that I pulled in the middle. We pulled all of it apart, and this became the recording room, because when you close that door, it's very silent in here. So it's good for recording. This was the soundboard that just fed into a microphone, or into a camera. And this became the whole church building right here, which was an interesting challenge. It was me and the camera, and sermon notes on the bulletin board or up on the soundboard, and that was it. And so you would try to bring some activity and some passion and that sort of stuff to what you're doing. There's nobody. And it's a dead room. There's nothing in it. The reason that we did this back wall was because there was different lights hung here. And when we get out front, I'll show you, we have a piano that's been gutted. There's no keys on it. But the piano became the backdrop because I would put whatever on the piano. We did a whole series on spiritual disciplines. And so I was getting people to send me their projects, whatever it was, and we would put their projects up and say, these are the disciplines that people do. It's knitting, or it's cooking, or it's carpentry, or whatever it was. And they would put it up on the piano, and it would just be the background of the sermons. And it would change each week, because it's no problem to do that. And then at the end, you'd build one great big thing with everyone's kind of project and spiritual disciplines. So this is actually one of my favorite rooms, although you wouldn't know why unless I told you, just because this was church. And people gathered in here to worship. I just couldn't see them. It's okay.
Oh, wow.
There's lots of people. If you hang to the right there, take your neck straight. That's going to be the back half of the youth room. Be bold, dive right in there.
Go,
It
Chang.
doesn't smell too much like teenage boy, but a little bit.
I mean, it smells clean to me.
Is it? That is,
I just put the food now when I'm in
yeah. There's a light switch right back there. You hit that? So, this is the youth room of about 10 years ago.
Wow.
The youth we have too many youth now for this room. And so they really don't use this, and it's been taken over by our kids' ministry, the remnants of kids' Sunday school. And yeah, this is a room that I have big dreams for the people who have yet to come here. But I think Jesus took teenagers very, very seriously, and that's the disciples really.
Gosh, I love this couch.
Yeah. Stick around long enough and put it on top of the van, you can take it home. So I'm the sole pastor. Mandy is the pastor of worship ministry. She's lay pastor. She doesn't get paid. Carmen at the front, she is the big boss lady. I'm telling you, she runs the joint. And you can always tell it because when you say that to her, she says, no, that's gotta be smarter than that. She runs the place. So she and I, and Dale's here, Dale is custodial. We're the 3 paid people. I'm the only full-time person. We've got a board of 4, including myself. Our bylaws allow for us to have a board at up to 9 people, but we currently have 4. I have a woman named Cheryl Glass who does our children's ministry. Dwayne Summick and his wife Cheryl Summick are our youth. He's also on the board. There's a women's ministry that functions currently. It isn't because of COVID, but that's all of this is volunteer run. So there's a woman named Green that does that. That's the ministry team.
And how old is your oldest children?
My oldest,
Yeah.
he is 16 years old.
16.
Yeah.
Is he looking forward to being involved in the church or?
My children have always served. He's on our sound crew and video. He is a person who loves stableness, which means that he is resistant to change since he was born. The biggest reason he didn't want to be potty trained was because he wasn't potty trained. I don't want that changed. Ride your bike, learn to swim, all these things. So he's looking forward to being done high school, not necessarily going to somewhere else, but he approaches those things more cautiously. But he actively serves. He's actively in the youth group, and he enjoys it. He's introverted like his mom. So let's go with a big group of people. To me, it sounds wonderful. To him, not so much. It's really loud. They're gonna squirt guns at you or like water guns and smear peanut butter on you. He's like, why?
Yep. Nope. I understand that.
What's that?
I understand that.
Yeah, half of the people always go, yes, that's me. Like, what's the worst thing you do? Call me up and say, I'm coming to get you. Click. No. Why? Where? What's the plan?
Is your daughter like you or your?
My daughter is a social powerhouse.
Your mom.
She is like, she loves you. She just doesn't know.
Oh, like you and me.
Oh yeah. Well, she's me. Turn it up some more. It's a problem. And she's like I never want to teach my children fear. I want to prepare my children for the world. We don't hide a lot from our children, but for her it was like, okay, stranger danger. Let the nice man go. We don't know him.
Oh, yeah.
So that's you should ask Mandy that question sometime. The answer you get will be hilarious.
Yeah.
Want to go to the next room over here? I'm gonna hit the switch here. Keep going and hit right.
I got that one. I know the feeling because I'm both. I can.
You are both extroverted and introverted?
Yes, I am. I can be introverted, which I love being, but I can also be an extrovert if I have to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Deanna has this in her room, and I see it, and I'm so jealous.
Which one?
The Strong's Concordance. She has it, and it just looks so nice, and I want it.
Okay. Would you send me an email that says that, please? This is a library. We don't use libraries anymore. We use online sources. So much of this stuff has not been touched since a long, long time. There's lots of stuff in here that I don't know what it is.
They are an atlas.
We have which?
An atlas. The atlas?
Atlas, oh yeah.
I don't know if that's the right way to say it.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
The atlas.
Love and respect.
She calls me
What's
that.
that?
There was a time where this place was really used, quite a bit.
Yeah.
But now all of these books are pretty easily available online. So this is a room where a lot of meetings happen.
Look at the college years.
I think it's
No one would
yeah,
say that.
and you'll read that and you'll go, that's not my experience, because nowhere in there is it going to comment on the sort of things that, like, anyone here ever do any online dating? Does that ever happen? Okay, it's not in that book, I promise. All that kind of stuff, that sort of stuff's just not in there.
Do you happen to have any other language in this?
In the church?
If the
No, it would be minor if we had anything. We have a Spanish-speaking portion of our congregation from Mexico. We would certainly have some German speakers, but English would be primary. That's
You wanna know
big.
something really funny
Sure.
about this? My mom, where she used to work when she was younger, she escorted Billy Graham's son
Yeah.
through something. They were at a stadium or something, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
you met Billy Graham's son. Good to know.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You wish you could meet him? I don't
Yes.
know. I cannot introduce you to him.
I mean,
That's sort of someone you
this
admire.
is just like,
the 10 conversations you must have before you get married.
Pull that book off there. Let's see what it says. Okay, so here's what we know. There's one going to be about money. There's one about sex. There's one about children. There's one about parents. What else is there?
Okay, let's look the jobs or mission.
financial
Ministry.
issues, yeah.
Having
Kids, careers, money.
Sex, family, location, division of labor,
Yeah.
leisure, spiritual and religion, wrapping things up.
It's probably a good book.
Why is wrapping the W in brackets?
What?
Oh,
As in like
Wrapping?
wrapping as
It's
in
going to mean some. Go to
birth
the last
control.
chapter. Oh, I doubt it.
Really?
I doubt it. That's pre. When these sort of books are written, they come from a conservative background, and so they just won't talk about it. Usually, not always. Does it tell us?
Kathleen, you okay?
oh yeah, I just like the wall.
She wants to play with the airplane. That's why.
Yep, it's true.
You can play with the airplane. You're perfectly allowed to do that.
Awesome.
I don't think it says why.
Okay. What a missed opportunity by that book.
Cool. I like this. This is cool.
Good.
I don't want to spend the time
Okay.
figuring out.
I'm gonna just,
Someday when you go through some sort of premarital stuff, they'll throw a book at you that's they'll be
Kinda like
similar.
that.
Well, yeah, there's not a
Oh,
lot of
it
differences.
means that DM means.
It's good stuff, and it is stuff that you do need to talk about. It's also stuff that when you are at the place where you're getting the certain conversations that you those little kids that come in and play on the chalkboard and whatever. Oh, that's pretty good.
chalkboard.
You're just a little bit expressive, huh? I like that. We showed her a chalkboard, she cried.
You just think about the other
Yep.
kids.
Oh, I'm with you.
doing
I'm
their
with you.
thing.
Loves kids.
Thought you mean the adults in the room too.
Oh, yeah,
I was
he
like,
does.
yes.
He does those, but this, what I look for in the church, I walk in a church, how do you take care of your children? If you're stuffed in the closet, I'm not too excited about that. At least turn the lights on, come on. So, let me show you the nurseries, which means we're gonna go past my office.
We're running.
The next room over is Carmen's second office. Remember that when she tells you that she doesn't run the church.
Wow.
Awesome.
Okay, Carmen, we believe you.
Watch this, we'll make it even worse. Hey Carmen, how many offices do I have? I have one office, that's it. So these are, I think, these are the prettiest rooms. Specifically that one, but I'll take in this one here first.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So, if you guys are ever responsible for running a church or some part of it, put nice furniture in the kids here before you put nice furniture anywhere else. The people who need to soothe a child who's never been away from mom and dad, that nice couch is a big part of that. It speaks to the blessing of the church. So, put money into that, and if that means you don't get nice stuff in the lobby, it's okay. This is the toy room.
I love that.
Yeah, I was.
When COVID hit, we had to sterilize everything, which means we got rid of a lot of stuff that, old books and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's cute when a little kid sits in that.
Little drum.
So this is,
Yeah, that's a good picture.
some of the names for this. It's just university loans. Please. We also did a lot of recording in this room. Again, it's very dead in here.
Yeah.
Dead being a positive thing.
That was the difference between here and the funeral home.
What did you guys think? Tell me about that.
Oh, it was good.
What do you mean?
I was very interesting
Yeah?
because personally I've never